Hello guys, and welcome to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. I believe in the last episode we took care of Japan in our turn here for February of 1940. Throughout recording pretty much this entire series so far, I've had the flu. It's been 4 days since I've recorded my last episode. I blame Churchill, personally. That rat bastard's trying to take me out while I'm ahead. In the last episode, we also managed to make every single Low Country surrender in one turn, which is something I didn't personally know that I could do. If I recall correctly, it took them 2 or 3 turns to accomplish the same thing. So, I'm a little bit proud of this, and I see a weak point in the line here. Not only is nobody defending Dunkirk, this one corps here is pretty much out of readiness and morale. It's actually kind of close to the first corps, but there's still a big difference once you get into this kind of like grayed out number territory. As you can see, its entrenchment is up, but it's not enough. My tank can plow through here. One bad thing is my planes aren't really capable of doing very much right now, so I'll take care of them first and foremost. I'm going to reinforce these fighters here on the front. We have some tactical bombers here that I would actually like to move forward away from here. They're not really needed against the Maginot, so we'll move them up to the Rhine, and then we'll take these tactical bombers. I don't know, they're a little damaged. I think I'm just going to reinforce these ones for right now, get them up to full strength. Same thing with these fighters right here. My Air Force has seen a lot of nonsense recently. Additionally, my fighters right here, I'm actually going to move up. Maybe not yet, but I'm thinking right over here because I want to expand my fighter coverage in this region because I plan on starting bombing after the push probably meets some point where we have to slow down, for example, to repair the tanks. Speaking of, I will open fire with the tanks immediately on this weakened enemy French corps. Okay, we dealt 4 damage, we took 1 damage, so it's actually worse than it said we would do because it said we would take no damage. Still, fine. Let's go ahead and attack again. We dealt, what was that? That wasn't nearly as good as it said we would do, I'll tell you that much. And now I want to try something real quick. We're going to take the Panzer tanks and we're going to start moving them. We're just move them all the way down here and capture Amiens immediately, cutting a circle around these enemy units that are around Lille and whatever. And I'm surprised to see, where did the Brits go? Did they just completely evacuate France altogether? I've completely circled around these enemy units. They have lost their supply line unless they can run out of here, and so I'm hoping to basically with this corps just encircle it entirely. I will not waste the opportunity though. I will probably end up shooting with this tank. I'm just going to give it a moment because we'll wipe this out and then we can hopefully march units through. I don't know. This army right here does have a zone of control that could be problematic. I think my first line of action, yeah, will be going for wiping out this corps completely. So we dealt 2 damage, took 1. We are doing worse in every instance than what it says we're going to do here. But alright, we've wiped out this enemy corps completely. This mine is now ours. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tank, I'll move it onto the mine to make sure we own the mine. We have a path here that will supply to any of our units that are going to start forming up on this front. Alright, so I'm going to take the 4th Army. I'm going to attack. I'm not really sure which one of these to attack though, because ideally, like, I'm trying to break through, but if I can just make them scramble anyway, somewhere not on the Maginot, that works one way or another. As it stands, I can do way more damage to this army than any other army, so I think I'm just going to go for this one. 3 damage, 1 taken, just as advertised. Fine with that. Next army. 3 damage, 2 taken. I'm really not doing well on these rolls. Let me tell you, I'm going to get elite reinforcements into these paratroopers right here. I could swap these paratroopers in to do an attack, but I'm not going to do that. We are shifting our forces this turn. I think we have a pretty good start as it is. I'm going to take these paratroopers. We're not going to prepare to jump because I don't want to have to deal with the fighter coverage right now. I think we have such a good thrust into France already that it's a pretty good start. I'm just going to move these guys down to hold this mine and hold our supply line leading in. Ideally, we're trying to make their lines move and collapse as the brunt of our forces shows up like a wave. I also want to get unit upgrades. That's a very important thing to me right now. So this corps, anti-air, infantry weapons, there you go. It's already kind of on the front. Slovakian corps, same thing. Infantry weapons, anti-air, done. Anything else up here? No. This army is going to reinforce. I want you at full strength. This army here, Well, yeah, okay, we'll move it up. The problem we're gonna run into, though, is just... placement. Placement's gonna be a problem with these armies. They can't all really get as far. I might operate some of them. There's 2 of them that could benefit from operating right over here somewhere. Yeah, we could get, like, right on the other side, like, right in the front. I'll operate the furthest one down there. That costs some MPPs, but I think it's worth it to literally just teleport behind this unit, fully cutting off his way to get back to his own supply lines. I don't even need to attack him this turn, because he's going to run out of supply. I don't believe Lily by itself can keep him that much in supply, right? Certainly not, I feel like. Next turn, he'd be very, very weak, I think. And then everything else just comes down to... I don't know, opportunity, I guess. I think we'll just run this guy down south for now. Yeah, about as far as we could get him anyway. We'll run him onto Antwerp. This corps can move. He'll move down, kind of leaving this guy. The only way out is Dunkirk, and that's not even a way out. We're not going to attack him, like I said. There's no point to doing that. Actually, okay, no, I'll move this guy here. This corps will bring it down to Antwerp. And so that whole front line has kind of moved forward. This corps right here will get its upgrades all the same. We have 245 MPPs remaining. I want to get at least 1 research going this turn, so I don't want to spend too much more on upgrades. The Maginot Front doesn't need upgrades. For Germany, I think I'll get work started on infantry weapons, because we need to be able to overwhelm with pure infantry power, assuming bad weather, bad placement. Like, it's just the best basic thing, and we're already ahead. We want to keep our advantage. That leaves us with 70 MPPs left to spend. Some of these HQs are also going to have to move up. I didn't leave very good spots for them to move up, however, but they are still going to have to move up. So Bach here is going to move, I guess, to the Hague itself. That seems like a good idea. And then Rundstedt here needs to move over. I think I'll move him to Bastogne. It's not quite a city. It's protected enough, though. And it'll help him reach out to maybe some of the further along guys, provide some sort of bonus to them. This guy over here on Munich, I guess he could stay where he is. He's kind of providing support to the Maginot, and that's functional. I might move him up to Nuremberg, though, because that would work just as well, and he might be able to reach out to some others that need it, potentially. I'll move him up to Nuremberg. That works out. These fighters that I said I was going to move forward, again, they still don't really have many places to move forward to. And that really hasn't changed, because we're also in snow, and snow is bad. So we'll just move up right next to Cologne. Good old Cologne. The medium bombers, I'm really not sure what to do with. They may not be the most useful here, but they're also maybe not too useful over here. They need to be in fighter escort one way or another, and they are. I'll just leave them there for now, I think. Yugoslavia only has 11% left to go until they move towards us. That means probably 2 more successful ticks moving towards us. So we have to kind of formulate how much 50 MPPs is worth to us compared to getting Yugoslavia in as soon as possible. If they join us, we get access to their units early. We get their MPPs early. And so that can kind of pay off itself in differing ways. Although that means putting more points in. 25% for the next tick, which could be critical and get us there immediately, seems okay. I'd feel safer if it was at 30% though, because then assuming I need 2 ticks, it's 30% and 25%, because we're on a timer with them, remember. So I think I'm going to take the German MPPs, I'll put 1 final tick of MPPs, 1 final chit into this. We're at a 30% chance now, down to 25%, I'm just going to leave it alone until Yugoslavia joins us. Hopefully we get a crit and it's like 1 turn. That isn't even wasted MPPs, that's even better, because that just means we get income from them sooner, because they're joining us willingly. Additionally, we need to keep up our submarine action, so I'm going to back along the line here. Hell, we found a Belfast light cruiser, so of course that's not the greatest. I'll move back on the line, move across the line to kind of get out of its range. Then we're going to move down here. We found a fucking destroyer. It attacked us and then evaded damage from us, which is all kinds of gay. I'm going to move in between these 2 ships because I think that will still keep us hidden. I don't know, maybe not. Either way, this guy has to get the fuck out of here. But on his way back up, I'm just going to have him stop and just do some more raiding because fuck you. That's why. We need to get this guy out of here. Put him back on hunt. Send him up this line. But send him, like, down the line. He's still good to just keep raiding. So he'll go over there. These submarines are getting hunted down and a little bit fucked up, but they are getting some good raids off at the very least. And any damage we do to their ships, they'll have to replenish as well. And if their ships are fighting our subs, then it's not that bad. Again, eventually it'll be easier because, well, it'll be down here. Everything will be down here. I'm going to move south a little bit here. And again here, leave the ships there for the time being. I believe that's all the ships, yes. And so then there's Italy. For Italy, I'm actually going to come down here into Ethiopia this turn. Oh my god, they went up to 85% mobilization. That's crazy. Probably because we're doing so well in France, and that kind of pushes them along. We're going... Oh god, that makes me nervous about what I'm picking, but... We're going to go ahead and reinforce the HQ here, because that can help get the supply in the region up. And then we're also going to come over here, and we're going to reinforce these fighters up to max. It leaves us with 13 MPPs, and that's all we're going to do. This medium bomber isn't as important to get up to snuff as, say, fighters are, in case we're worried about enemy air power, which we're really not. This HQ is already in place. We do have new units to deploy as Italy. We have the Garibaldi HQ and the 1st Corps. So they can be useful up here. Transporting them to Libya would be a bitch. We have the Rommel and everything going down there anyway. No matter where they're going, starting them up north near where the fighting's going to be is probably not a bad thing. So I'll deploy Garibaldi over here in Milan, and the 1st Corps I'll deploy just in between the 2 HQs. It needs to get up to strength, yeah, but I can't do that this turn anyway. And this is good enough. It'll support this push. I can't deploy anything into Libya. They have to be transported there. That's a big part of the problem with getting things over there. I guess the last thing I'll do for this turn is take my medium bombers, and I'll just do a little sally. Little sally out to see what's over here. They have a lot of shit over here, bro. They have I can't do anything, but they have a battleship and a light cruiser right here. I'm just kind of curious. But yeah, we see they have some big air power here. If I had some maritime bombers, we could fuck this shit up. Or if I had more medium bombers or something to that effect. I wonder if we'll keep having them spotted. I wonder if that's a thing. I don't think it is, but if we can keep having them spotted, we could sure strike them. Guess we'll find out. Either way, yeah, I just don't have enough ships to dedicate to this. I'm busy with the invasion of France. But let's go ahead and hit end turn and see what January, February, March has in store for us. Let's go. French morale falls as Germans approach Paris. Good, good. That means we're making progress, even though we were mostly shifting troops. Italy prepares for war. That means they're going to join the war like next turn. Maybe not like next turn, but next turn, I think. And there's a coal strike damaging Australia's economy. Good, good. And we've disrupted, no, they've disrupted Norway-German convoys. German blitzkrieg continues towards Paris. Tech. Okay, we're getting nothing from Sweden because winter and our Norway line is just absolutely fucked. But the USSR is kindly giving us some imports that is going to help make up for that. I'm happy. Oh, I just saw Brits on Le Havre and they're gone. So the BEF is running away without doing any fighting at all. And now the French are moving back to Le Havre. Was that the damaged one? I think it was. The Chinese are shifting some troops. Okay, they do that a lot. Don't know what they're trying to do right now. Leaving a hole in the front. They reinforced the one I injured, I think. They're reinforcing the army I injured. They moved the full-strength army to Le Havre. Okay. Okay. That's not bad. They have a corps on Paris. Planes right next to Paris that are really open. They're trying to bomb me, but I have interceptors right up here now, meeting their escorts and their bombers. 1 damage to their escorts. No damage to their bombers. I believe, yeah, the city, Brussels, took some damage. Lost 2 MPPs. They're running another bombing run. Same escorts, both sides. Oh, well, it might be different escorts. I don't know. We dealt 2 damage to their escorts. None to our interceptors. And they got a little bit more damage. Supply damage and MPP damage to me. But we're doing more damage to them than they're doing to me. They tried to bomb my army and they took damage and I didn't. Nice. The Maginot is going on the assault and failing. That surrounded corps is going on the assault. We didn't take any damage in 3 fights and the enemies took like 1 damage each. A Chinese garrison is appearing down by Quilin. I forget what this one is. I can't see it. Interesting. A garrison's easy to kill. Don't know what you're trying to accomplish there. I'm just kind of holding the line over here for right now. I'm not trying to push. I'm trying to make it impossible for them to take Pakoi, because that will net me amazing gains. British forces mobilized in Egypt. Yep, saw that coming. Italian shipping prepares for war in the Indian Ocean. I think we just joined the wars, Italy, already. Holy crap. Yeah, Italy joins the Axis. All right, Italy's in the war. Italy declares war on the Allies. I think that's like record timing, by the way. USSR annexes territory from Finland following the end of the Winter War. Okay, so that worked out for them. Suez Canal limits the Italian supply in Abyssinia. Oh, yeah. Iraq, Canada, South Africa, Sudan. Nice raids. Okay, that was a really good turn resolution for us. They did terribly. I might have gotten some bad rolls, but they got terrible rolls, bro. Terrible. Our iron ore imports from Norway could be threatened by the British, who may make a move to invade Norway and cut off our convoys. It's there strongly recommended that we move quickly to occupy the country, so we have devised a plan to move units secretly to land in Norway. These forces should be sufficient to deal with any Norwegian resistance and also probably to repel Allied counter moves. Preparations will cost 200 MPPs at 100 per turn for 2 turns, and the invasion will take place on the 9th of April. Just say April 9th, bro. Holy shit. 1940. Would you like to authorize the invasion of Norway? If you say yes, Germany will invade Norway on April 9th. I hate how it's written. 1940. A half-strength corps will land at Oslo. A garrison... Strength 3... Wait, what? A strength 3 garrison units? And strength 3 garrison units. Okay, it doesn't say how many units will occupy Narvik. Oh, I guess the amount of places. Trondheim, Bergen, Stavanger, Christianland. At Oslo, we will meet some resistance as Norwegian shore batteries will inflict 1 to 4 points of damage on our forces as they land. On the diplomatic front, the USA will swing 3 to 5% towards the Allies in response to our invasion. If an Anglo-French expedition was sent to Finland, it is possible these forces will be used as an attempt to retake Narvik, in which case it would be wise to reinforce the garrison there as soon as possible. Okay, yeah, we're invading Norway. Hell yeah, let's go. Take it. Work is continuing on the Roma battleship at Trieste, though it has been suggested that rather than add another battleship to our fleet, we should convert her into an aircraft carrier to be named the Aquila. Converting her into an aircraft carrier will take about 2.5 years and will cost 200 MPPs at 25 MPPs a turn for 8 turns. Alternatively, we can simply carry out the work completing her as a battleship for free, in which guise she will be ready to service in June 1942. Would you like to convert the Roma into the Aquila aircraft carrier for the extra cost or complete her production as a battleship? So this is actually similar to that event we got as Germany, where it's 200 MPPs to turn a frame for we'll take a frame of an aircraft carrier and finish it for the same exact cost in the same exact time. However, there's a big difference here. If I hit no here, then I just get a free battleship anyway. Whereas in the other one, the Germans, I don't think they even get that battleship, or they don't make anything. You just don't build anything, whereas you could have gotten a discount on an aircraft carrier. For Germany, I gladly didn't spend the money to finish the aircraft carrier because 200 MPPs, I need that for diplomacy. I need that for other units. My navy doesn't matter as Germany, when my goal is to take the USSR, Egypt, and France. Does not matter at all. And having an aircraft carrier as Italy, it is discounted, yes, but not if you think of also the price of a battleship. I'm going to say no to this. I'm just going to take the battleship because, oh, perfect timing. If we look at Italy, if we look at building ships, a battleship costs 350. So I'd be spending 200, so saving 150 on a carrier. But this 350 would essentially be thrown away. So it's actually a really bad deal, honestly. I'll take the battleship. We could use more battleships. Carrier's very long-term thinking, and in the Mediterranean, am I going to need a carrier? Well, it could be handy. This war plan is not long-term enough to even consider that. All right, so I'm most interested in what's happening in Germany right now. We're going to take the 10th Army and march it right outside of Paris. So we're outside of Paris. We're not taking Paris this turn. That's fucking impossible. But we can certainly start to surround it this turn. We can certainly make some progress there. Our tanks are getting a little bit iffy. How is supply on the front? It's okay, but it's getting stretched at this point. We'll definitely have to keep moving some HQs forward with the group. Personally, I don't see why the AI sent the BEF. I guess just for the national morale of France to go up, because they fucking ditched the moment they could. I don't see anything BEF here remaining at all. So one of the biggest threats to me right now is actually this fighter group, because that's what's going to prevent me from more effectively bombing. Well, not just that, it comes from over here too. Also effectively using paratroopers. It is also annoyingly in the way of surrounding Paris, so really the most useful unit I have to deal with this is actually the paratroopers that I moved up into the mine. So we're going to move them forward. We're going to have them attack these fighters of France. We dealt 3 damage, we took no damage, exactly as advertised. This might be a little risky, but I believe my tanks have done their job. They've punched through the line, several lines actually, and gotten me this far. Now I believe it's time to stop relying on them for attacking and start relying on them for some other things. So, to that effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this damaged, both of these damaged ones, right? The further back one is going to go around to the left, cross the river, leading to Paris. Oh look, there's their HQ. We're going to take this other tank, and we're going to go even further past that, cutting off the road from the west, leading into Paris, cutting off the road from the southwest, leading into Paris. Now it's just up from Lyon and directly into the Maginot that you can get into Paris. So we'll cut off enemy reinforcements, ideally, and it won't probably help to cut off supply in the region, because supply in the region from Paris is at a 12, which is absolutely fucking insane. However, every unit you have around another unit, maybe with a cap, I forget, provides a bonus to any units that attack that unit. I remember at least that much from my previous playthrough. So these paratroopers they're going to move back to the mine, out of the way of this front, and I'm going to take somebody else and move them up to the front. I believe I'm going to take this 4th army that's a little bit injured from its attack on the 1st French army. I'm going to move that up because that'll do more damage, and I'm going to attack these fighters of France. We dealt 5 damage and caused them to retreat, and we've claimed the forest here of Sedan for our own, and that gives us another place we can put our units to further slink around their lines. So one thing that's really important is that we keep a line moving forward just nonstop. So I'm gonna get the Slovakian Corps here. I'm gonna move them up into the Ardennes to protect the HQ that's here, even though that HQ might not be here. We just want to put something up against the front line, and that's pretty much the extent of how far that unit can move anyway, so I'm pretty content with that movement. Antwerp and Brussels, we might actually just want to completely vacate, and so that works out with a couple potential movements here. So yeah. So this army can move forward as well. It's a little limited, but I'm going to move it around, all the way around this enemy core that we have chilling out. Now, that is moved. We still need to move some more. This 8th army can move this far. We're going to move it this far. We kind of want to keep this unit mostly surrounded. It's becoming useless. It's almost out of supply. Not quite. I don't want to attack it. I don't feel like wasting my time attacking it at the moment when it could still be weakened further. We need to get something into Sedan over here. We need to sit something down into the woods here. And I think the only really good candidate for that is the 2nd Corps on Brussels. So that's going to move forward and form the line around what's, lining the Maginot, plus this army, which is not technically on the Maginot, but next to the Maginot. I'll take this corps, I'm going to move that over to Dunkirk, really filling in the whole surrounding aspect we're doing here and forming a human wave that's like about to just spill forward into enemy territory. And to finish my little plan here, we'll take the 14th Army, move it forward to the mine on Mons. We'll take these HQs, move 1 to Brussels, 1 to Antwerp. I'm going to take these paratroopers here. They could be operated directly up to the front, or I could also prepare them to jump from where they are. And I'm really not sure which one I want to do. They couldn't get very far from all the way back here, and they might lose that elite reinforcement just immediately from jumping. I think it might do better to operate them up here all the way to the front onto this town, and so now they've kind of caught up to the situation at hand. I will just reinforce the 1st army that's on the front here. I'm not too worried about just beating this army down. If it stays where it is, it's wasting its time anyway. Next is to get as many tactical bombers as possible, I think we only have 2 anyway, in range of striking Paris, which I believe we can do from both of these hexes. If we can't, then there are no closer hexes anyway, so both tactical bombers will be moving up to roughly the same spot. As for fighter coverage, we're going to have 2 fighters coming in right behind them. Literally just right behind them, guarding them, keeping them safe. This fighter's covering pretty much as I would need it to cover. I'll take this HQ, I'll move this up to Frankfurt, so we can still cover just as much stuff, as much useful stuff as possible. I mean, they can reach out pretty far anyway. The Maginot is more important now that they're attacking it, but, you know, I'm not too worried. They tried to attack and completely failed. Our entrenchments are high, even if our upgrades are not. We need to do more research, I think. I have 215 MPPs. Where the fuck did I get 215 MPPs from? Oh, right, yeah, this is a new turn. I've been really in and out recording this episode. It's already been like an hour and a half, if not 2 hours. We also have new units we can deploy as Germany. The tanks from Dusseldorf, so I guess they're going on Dusseldorf. They have full upgrades, including mobility. That's a pricey upgrade. That's pretty awesome. And we have some new TAC bombers with no upgrades to deploy. I think I'll deploy those over here by Frankfurt and Mannheim near the Maginot Front, because there's nowhere closer I could put them that's really going to prove to be very useful. So hopefully somewhere over here can be somewhat useful without, you know, any upgrades whatsoever. It is my goal to have the strongest ground fighting force for Germany as possible. So I'm going to take a lot of these MPPs and I'm going to put them into advanced tanks research, because I'm sure that'll take a long time. But get that up to 2, it goes up to 5. We want to start filling up the total research funding, ideally getting critical upgrades that we could get and that would come very in handy to us before 1943 especially. Now for Navy, I'm going to move this submarine forward. I'm going to move this one kind of out nearby, but not quite in the range because we can't get that far. It needs to kind of head back anyway. We'll take this one and we'll move... Where should we move? They're keeping a lot of stuff around the exit into the Mediterranean. I'm going to move this one over here. We know at least up to here is safe. But that's not. But they chose not to attack me anyway, so we're just going to move down south there. And now these guys have just been chilling around. Just moving across to the other side in both instances should be enough to confuse if any allied ships are nearby trying to kill us. And we have 40 MPPs left, but I'm not really going to spend them for now. That's probably all we're going to do for Germany. I could go recon for this again, but there's probably not a lot of point. Since we've been moving fighters, we don't have any escorts to really give this medium bomber, so we don't necessarily want to provoke any anger from the enemy. If anything, moving south to prepare for a bombing raid next turn might be the more handy thing to do. Probably is. So, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and move the medium bombers down to the Rhine. That would probably be a better use of them. That is everything that's happening with Germany, and that's probably it for the episode. We pretty much did a decent bit. We finished up the turn. We've now entered March. There's snow everywhere, but we're outside of Paris. We've pushed through in a tidal wave, and the French are terrified because of it. Italy is now in the war, so we're gonna have to start marching them into France as well, which should hopefully scare the French even more. That might be a memeable sentence, but we'll see. We can also take advantage of the fact that these raiding lines are still in the Mediterranean. We have a sub that's able to participate in this, for sure, and we have to start getting other places up to snuff, if at all possible, like in Ethiopia and etc., where the war has now just opened up. But like I said, that's it, that's all. Let me know what you guys think about the invasion of France and how you think it's going. Let me know what you think about my focuses for the long-term strategy at hand, and if you think there's anything I should be doing differently. Really, that's it for now though, so thank you guys very much for watching. I hope I'll see you on the next one.